Tamer's Nif-Bashed weapons pack adds a lot of new weapons, such as Veil Piercer, which we're now familiar with. One other such weapon, though, is the finger gun, the default weapon, if you will. So, I start my life the same way all women do. Good at fingering. Wait! No, wait, I meant never mind, forget it. In order to acquire my own hand, I need to first have the Wild Wasteland trait, and then I need to level up 1 time. To do that, I complete Ghost Town Gunfight, allowing the powder gangers to be wiped out by Goodsprings. Then I discover a few locations and take the Finger Blaster perk, so I'm granted my psychic powers. I test these powers on some poor prospector who tried intimidating me with his ability to fly. Right now, the finger gun does 7 damage, but that gets increased by 1 each time I level up, so we'll see how much we can increase that by the time we get to the dam. By we, I mean me. You're just sitting there not even helping. Speaking of seeing, the next guy I see fucking exploded when I used a Psychic Blast on him. I also decide to go over to Nipton and give Vulpez a taste of his own medicine by knocking him down and setting him on fire. He and all of his legionnaires die horribly by whatever messed up thing happens in their brains when I use my Psychic Blasts on them. Since the gun apparently does more damage per level, I figure I'll set up my financial future by doing all of the quests around the outpost. Ghosts for starters, then killing the ants for Jackson. Then I circle back to Prim and kill all the convicts holding Beagle hostage. They were so scared of whatever was happening to them that most of them fled in terror. I then secure some NCR troops and allow them to take over Prim. Once again, I plan to side with the NCR. I started recording this a few hours after I finished recording the Veil Piercer video, and oh, I was just itching to kill the Legate that day. I continue my vendetta against the Legion in Cottonwood Cove, where Aurelius and I play a game I like to call Whack-A-Kentorian. What that entails is that he hides in the water, while I try to blow him the fuck up with my mind. I win the game when he gets turned into gore. Maybe pissing off the Legion this badly this early is a bad idea, but my red head is full of crazy ideas, and most of them are bad. I do have one good one though. Can you imagine some of history's best action flicks with puppets in the roles of the actors? But that's neither here nor there, unlike me who's now here in Novak, or perhaps there, near Nelson. And it's there that I run into my oldest enemy, the missing resource icon. I went into town to fight Bill and encountered my greatest rival yet, the missing resource icon. Been a while, old friend, but I'm afraid this world ain't big enough for the 2 of us. Ranger Milo doesn't believe that I'm capable of doing bad things, even though one time when I was in 1st grade, I cheated on a spelling test. I didn't even really need to. I managed to get the NCR hostages out of Nelson without his help, and wipe out the Legion while I'm at it, because I'm the hero of this story. Me! Well, I think historically I've been a menace in videos rather than a hero, but this time, I'm a hero. I swear, I'm not even like 2% as much of a menace in casual playthroughs, but video playthroughs aren't canon, okay? Where was I? Oh, while passing the 188, I dropped by Vault 11. If you have the ability to recognize patterns, you might know why I'm here. If not, I'll just tell you. I want Elder McNamara's 3 special miscellaneous items so that I can establish peace with the Brotherhood. My game crashes a few times because of the mantises. Mantisae? Mantussi. Oh god, cut that. I'm sure the reason is that this load order? Fucked. Unsalvageable. A month ago I spent 10 straight hours making a new casual playthrough mod profile. I'd planned to do the same thing for the one that I use for recording, after this video, but until then, we're fighting invisible demons known as the consequences of my actions. Actually, I can't confirm that I did do that between making the script and now, and it only took me like 12 hours to fix a log problem I was having, and oh my fucking god. The problem was so stupid that I don't even want to admit what it was. You'll seriously think less of me if I tell you. Once I have it collected, I go to Boulder City because
they'll bury you up to your neck, peel your eyelids back, and leave you to fry in the desert. Menendez wants to see a little bird.
Because I wanted to level up more. I do so as soon as I look at Jessup, then I tell him to just let the hostages go. This isn't super relevant, but I wanted to complain about something real quick. And this is my video, so what are you gonna do? Stop me? Fuck you. Why? Why in the name of everything is there a Legion assassin spawn point right next to the Grub and Gulp? I always feel really bad when my actions get these 2 innocent people assassinated. I didn't do it here, but in regular playthroughs, I tend to give Fitz and Lupe like a billion health to avoid it. I don't want to say that it's bad game design, but it is, so I will. I hate it. Okay, this is usually about when I'd start doing main story stuff, but I have a vendetta. So I start the Coyotes in Aerotech and head over to Westside. Look, I was doing a semi-annual regular New Vegas playthrough not too long ago, and I was reminded of just how awful Dermot and St. James are, so I'm gonna let fly on these sons of bitches. Lights out, fuckers. Alright, I'm feeling better. I can take on the world. Or at least take on Oris for the king. I just really wanted to shoot someone again. The rest of GI Blues, though, I do peacefully, okay? I made an exception for Oris. He looked at me funny. Admittedly, I also did shoot at Old Ben a few times, but I'm just really bad in social situations, okay? I head to the tops and convince Benny to meet me in the presidential for a little talk. I let my finger guns do the talking, and what they say is, die! They say the same thing to some random chairman after I take the meltdown perk, hoping that it'll work with the finger guns. But it doesn't. Or does it? But then I go tell Mr. House that I'm not gonna give his withered old self the chip, and attack his Securitrons. One of them explodes for meltdown, but not all of them. I don't really get why. I thought it was on every kill, but it only does it inconsistently with the finger guns. When entering the control room, House is already out of his tube, which makes me pause because clearly he's too powerful to be killed right now. I talk to Crocker, mistakenly remembering that his king's task would be before his boomers one. I'm just a tad bit forgetful. I couldn't even tell you my own mother's birthday. August 13th, that's not the point. Instead, I go out to Fiend territory, hunting shitheads. Hunting regular heads of shitheads. Cook is the first head on the chopping block. Or cutting board if he'd prefer, being a chef and all. I've thought about being a chef before. I like cooking, but I'm also really bad at reaching my full potential, so... you know. Next is Violet, but sadly her head is a little bit unrecognizable after she gets exploded with my mind. And meltdown. Finally, Nephi, or Nephi. I think it's Nephi, because I'm pretty sure it's meant to be like Nephilim. I go to Camp McCarran with all of their heads, with the explicit goal to turn in their heads. I'm there to turn in the heads for the reward. I'm there to turn in the... What the fuck am I doing? Where am I going? Jesus Christ, why am I talking to Hildern? The furthest thing from what I was there to do. Okay, I guess I'm off to Vault 22 now. I mean, that's fine. I would have had to go there eventually, but... the heads... Okay, it's fine. It's fine. I get lost in there for a while since I didn't repair the elevator, but I eventually get both the data on the computer and the HEPA cartridges. I return to McCarran, which of course gives me a second chance to turn the heads in. What the fuck? Apparently, going to the boomers is more important right now. I explode the holy hell out of George from 8 nautical miles away. When I get there, I go to the generator room to clear out the ants. Of course, since my fingers are an energy gun and I'm using meltdown, I expect the ants to explode like with any other energy gun, but they don't. You might think that I could use Loyal's radio to kill them without finding that out, but no, that's actually not an option. The game still counts kills with Loyal's radio as kills made by you, not kills made by the environment, so I would count that as failing. Once they're dead and the power's back on, I head back to Helios to salvage some solar panels, and I figure, hey, since I'm in the area, I may as well go power this place back up too. It'd be good for XP, right? And it was. Let me tell you though, that Archimedes test option has never looked so delicious. It was speaking to me like the Green Goblin mask, but I resisted it. After that, it's just a little trip down to Lake Mead to fetch a pail of fighter jet, and I'm done with the boomers. After returning to the Lucky 38, I once again fight House's Securitrons and talk to him. He asks me if I'll give him the chip again, and I say yes this time to see what happens, but nothing does. This interaction leaves me dazed and confused, so I let him be once again. I take out my aggression on the Omertas instead. I really hate these people, you know. All of them suck, and both outcomes to how little we know also suck. The world is better off with less Omertas in it. I mean, killing Omertas is actually morally right, the game even says so. After killing all of them, I'm confident enough to try again with House. House shoves himself back into his tube before flying out again. What the hell is going on in this place? I guess I'll never find out because my game crashed after I shot him. Next time, though, he dies without resisting in the real world. So I move on to the Great Khans. I have a bit of a bad habit of slaughtering the Khans in past videos. Recently, at least. If it happened before the past few months, I can't remember it. I want to make up for my poor treatment of the Khans by not killing every single last one of them this time. So I have to convince them to turn on Caesar by embarrassing Carl, first of all, then freeing Anders in Cottonwood Cove. Now I have to fight through some Deathclaws to get to Melissa. I use the back entrance near Bonnie Springs rather than trying to go through the quarry. In case you didn't know, Deathclaws legally aren't allowed to enter Bonnie Springs, so I abuse this law in order to very easily kill them all. She's convinced near immediately, so it's back to Papa, and I use my silver tongue to convince him to leave the Mojave. Now I go to Vault 3 to finish something I started earlier. There are two things, actually. First, grabbing the last part from First, grabbing the last part from Motor Runner's locker. Then, separating all of Motor Runner's parts by turning him into at least 20 of them and taking his helmet. I still don't go turn any of the bounties in. Instead, I collect the 3 Brotherhood holotapes. So guess where I'm off to? I comply with the Brotherhood's demands, of course, then they tell me to go deal with Dobson. When I get my stuff back, I can't put my lightweight leather armor back on. Only my spurs. Bastards. This is just wrong. Dobson leaves peacefully after I gaslight, gatekeep, and girl convince him that it's not safe for him here. McNamara then wants me to head out and talk to his 3 scouts. Yeah, no. Look, old man, I have more important things to do right now. The fate of the universe relies on me going and talking to Knight Torres. I wouldn't expect you to understand. Might not make any sense to you, but believe me, the fate of the universe relies on me talking to Knight Torres. I need to rescue that laser pistol. The Rad Scorpions are holding it hostage. That laser pistol is a national hero, damn it. A good soldier never leaves a man behind, much less one as heroic as that laser pistol. I expect a Purple Heart for this laser pistol immediately. Okay, the hero has been returned to home base, so now I can do whatever pointless nonsense the Elder wanted. Waste of my time. But it means I can hand Lorenzo all of the parts he needed now. Plenty of XP waiting to be turned into bonus damage can be found up on Black Mountain. That's why I go up there and claim it, before some drifter could come along and take it all first. It also allows me to, I don't know, whatever the hell old man McNamara wanted from me up here. He told me what he wanted, but honestly I totally zoned out and just nodded when he asked if I understood. All this talk about elders, paladins, and knights reminds me to go talk to Major Knight to get my armor fixed. Oh god, that's so much better. I felt just unclean in that other getup. I sure hope I'm not gonna have to wear another outfit for an entire video. Anywho, dealing with the Brotherhood reminded me of one other power armor type faction out there, waiting to be brought back together even for a little while. So I recruit Arcade. Hey! I know, okay? Usually I don't use companions, except those other 2 times, or 3 actually. But the primary thing I do with him is take him over to Camp McCarran to talk to Hildern and gain trust with him. It's also the perfect chance to turn in those God damn it. Okay, but then I talk to Yes Man for the first time and install him into the Lucky 38 mainframe. Of course, that means I have to watch his presentation for the billionth time, but then, next time I talk to Arcade, he asks me to get his old band back together. Gannon and the Funky Bunch. For the most part, it's just fast traveling and talking to a bunch of old people. Ugh. Except for Henry, who makes me do some bitch work first. And I'm nothing if not a little bitch, so I agree to do it. Alone. I leave Arcade at the door. A bunch of cute and harmless snakes have been chewing up Stealth Boys. I get it. Sometimes I get hungry too. I give Henry one of their meals, run a few tests with him, and then ask him to meet up with the band. So at the band's clubhouse, I convince them to show up at Hoover Dam to motivate the NCR. Orion's a stubborn old bear sympathizer, but I convince him to keep his hatred for them underneath his belt. Now I part ways with Arcade, and go entirely off course once more by traveling to the fort. Did you know that it's technically legal to say, I want to murder Caesar with the power of my own mind? In fact, I think the NCR would actually applaud me for saying such a thing. So I infiltrate his camp, enter his tent, and fire away. Only then do I remember that all of my stim packs were confiscated. But I figure, hey, I'm a professional. I've got a good feeling that I can escape by the skin of my teeth, and also running like a little bitch with the entire Legion after me. Believe it or not, I actually almost make it out alive. Emphasis on almost, because the guys at the gate fucked me up. So I return to Cottonwood Cove, then return to the fort. This time convincing the guards that I need to take all my drugs with me. Now I manage to execute Caesar and get away with my life. Just barely. Speaking of stims, I do one last quick resupply on them. Specifically, I now have over 100, so... oh man, the legate is going down. But before then, I have to defend the president during his speech. I successfully defuse the bomb in his vertibird, disarm the engineer, and take out the fake ranger on the tower. However... look, I just couldn't help myself. It was funny, okay? Haha, we're laughing, right? Since I managed to kill him with a sneak attack, I guess the NCR couldn't tell that I'm responsible for his death. So I can report to Moore that he's dead and start the battle like normal. I'm at level 25 when I begin, meaning that my finger gun does 35 damage per hit. That's not that bad. Still, I mostly act as a support unit, knocking down legionnaires for the NCR's soldiers to pick off. Alpha Squad is particularly good at assisting this strategy, doubly so when the Funky Bunch finally show up to help as well. Also, in my New Vegas video, I mentioned that the gate to the Legate's camp was missing, and speculated that this was because of the Open Tents mod. Well, this time it's here, and I still have that installed, so who fucking knows, man. The Funky Bunch and I enter the Legate's camp, where we continue the strategy of me knocking enemies to the ground and letting them create the ashes for someone else to sift through later. Given how slowly ammo regenerates for my finger gun, I expected the Legate to pose literally any challenge whatsoever. That's why I prepared by packing over 100 stim packs. I didn't even have to use 15% of them. The Funky Bunch and I were an ultra-effective combat unit who absolutely wiped the floor with the Legate and his squadron without suffering any casualties ourselves. General Wait and See is more than impressed with our work, so I come out to him as gay, then beat Fallout New Vegas with only finger guns. Kid named Finger? God, I hate myself.